What's up, everyone? What's happening? Let's see those thumbs up. There we go. Peaceful New Zealand. That's what I like to hear. Is it nighttime there or is it morning? What time is it there? Must be morning time there. Hey, everybody. Where's everybody from? There we go. Tel Aviv, Atlanta, Charleston, Newcastle, Germany, Hungary, Canada, Portugal, I see, Australia, Budapest, Bangalore, and what else? Newcastle, I can't read, those are going by so fast. Tasmania, I saw that. Great to hear from everybody. I'm going to let the music play for a second. I'm going to get my glasses here. Hold on. See if I can do that. This is Iden Essen, in case anybody's asking me. There we go. Look at that. You can read it. Oh, man. It's crazy. Feel free to invite your friends. We got Russia. We got Portugal, Arizona, Austria. Okay. My old man. That's me, right? Mexico City, Istanbul. There we go. Great to hear from everybody. Okay, so a couple of things. I want to do a little business here first. There was a, I'm not infallible. I had a mistake in a video. I misnumbered something in my post-tonal theory intro. One of the screens, or on the whiteboard, I misnumbered 1 through 7. It should have been 0 through 6. And I was hasty in doing it, and I didn't notice it when I did it, and I corrected it. And I put the new video up. I didn't actually upload it. I had uploaded it a couple days ago, the correct version. And I was waiting to, I had it unlisted, and I just listed it before this, so it has no views. And it just had this one little 30-second spot that was incorrect in it, that I had written the numbers, but I corrected them and fixed it. So it's all good now. So the new version is up with the correct part in it. You can't have mistakes in these videos. And you can't do any annotations. So there's no way to correct things once they're up. So you actually have to take the video down. But I don't have mistakes too often. But when I have them, take them down. Yeah, what's up? There's like 200 people on and 95 likes. You guys' thumbs not working or something? What's going on here? We got Ukraine. Okay, so new album. How dare me make a mistake? Exactly, I know. Totally not cool, right? My dad, a jazz album. It's an album of pieces that I've written. There we go. I see those likes going up now. That should equal what it is. So anyway, so I have a new record out, and it was interesting. I was talking with my buddy Pat, who I talk to all the time, one of my best friends, and I was telling him that I've never released an album before, ever. Ever. I can put my glasses back on because I can't read anything. So I've done, still thumbs not working. Yeah, thumbs are not working. What's up? Come on, everybody. Okay, so, okay, there's the thumbs up are going up. Invite people, too. Feel free. My old band doesn't really count because that was not a solo record. It's a solo record. It's all me. These are pieces that I've done, most of which I've written them for videos over the last year and a half or so. And some are pieces that I wrote that weren't in videos, but they're all, I call it Preludes and Etudes, Volume 1. There's 14 songs on it. It's on my website at rickbeato.com. You can buy it, $10. If you guys are ever wanting to support me, forget about Patreon or any of that junk. I always believe in if you're going to spend money on something, you may as well get something for it. So, is the studio under construction? No, it's just a mess here right now. I don't have transcriptions for it, but you guys can start buying it literally right now if you go to rickbeato.com. I've only sold one so far. My buddy Paul bought it because I told him that that I had it out, and he bought it as I was FaceTiming with him, and then he told me that my metadata was wrong and it wasn't numbering it. It was so I had to redo the metadata. So if there's a problem with it, let me know. If the metadata, it's a classical it's classical and jazz. It's kind of what I do here. It's both. It will not be on iTunes. I'm not going to give Apple $3 out of my money here. Is it rap? It's a rap record, pretty much. It's all rap covers. It's crunk, really. Oh yeah. So somebody said thanks for the video game thing. Okay, so Brian is awesome. If you guys haven't seen that video and you're interested in writing music for video games, Brian basically knows everything and has been doing video games since the beginning. He's one of the foremost authorities on video games, and that video I put out, interview with him, it's a sounding off, but I didn't put sounding off because I didn't want people to think it's just an interview and they didn't know who Brian was. But he has a Game Sound Con, which is it's a big conference coming up for video gamers, and he's done music for 130 games in the past. So anyway, so check out Brian's interview if you want to know anything about scoring for video games. And I have another guest coming on that also does scoring for video games, who's excellent, and I've chatted with in the past, and he's done some really big games, and he will play some. He will actually show you some of what the different pieces look like and what one of his spreadsheets look like. And that's one of the things I forgot to ask Brian about, is like what the spreadsheets, because we didn't talk about it that much, but in video game writing, you do, apparently they use Excel sheets to keep track of the cues because there are so many of them and it's extremely complex. So so we did mention Excel. I wasn't sure if we mentioned that. Thanks, Frederick. It was really, really fascinating. It's the first interview I've done where I didn't really know anything about about what I knew. I had an idea what questions I was asked because I just asked questions that I wanted to know the answer to. So, which is pretty much everything about that. Which is pretty much everything about that subject. So if any of you are interested in gaming or writing music for video games, check out my interview with Brian Schmidt. Killer guy. He also has done a lot of commenting on there too. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section and Brian will ask him. The name of my album is called Preludes and Etudes, Volume 1. It's on my, you guys have bought it? You're awesome. So this is literally the first solo album I've ever put out, and I'm 55 years old. It's MP3. I have the WAV files, but it's interesting. I did a comparison between WAV files done at what was it, 192 kilobits per second versus WAV files. I mean, we do this stuff all the time. And I've done blindfold tests with huge engineers, mixers. They can't tell the difference. They can't tell the difference. Biggest people in the music business, biggest mixers, they can't tell. They get it about 50% of the time. So let's see. MP3 192 is fine. Yeah, 192. Not 192 hertz, kilohertz. Like 144. It's actually no. It's all at 96K. You have to import all these into Pro Tools. So, anyways, so kilobits per second. That's right. This is music I composed, and they're all modal pieces. I'm not sure if it's at 192 or 320. I can't remember. Somebody say something about 432. How about a teaser? Okay, let's see here. What do we got? And I have the album cover there that hold on, let me find it here. Rick album. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, help if I turn the volume up on the speakers here. Let's see here. This is the first track. Okay, that's the only teaser you're going to get right there. That's just the beginning of it. So, I got to put my glasses back on. Man, I keep taking them off. Sorry. 14 tracks. 14 tracks. So literally my first record I've ever done. There's no cowbell in it. So it's you have to check it out. If you want to support my channel, I'm playing everything. If you want to support my channel, then this is a good way to do it. Instead of doing Patreon or anything like that, you can just you can buy my record and listen to it. Pretty crazy. It's very ethereal. There's if anybody has any suggestions for the order of the record, let me know, because I ordered it how I thought it should be ordered. But what's up, Nelson? There's a but the order, if there's if anybody wants to suggest an order that's better than what it is, there's 14 tracks on it. If anybody suggests an order, send it to me, email me, let me know if you have a good order, or put it down in the any of you that buy it and you want to put it in the comments section here if you have a suggestion on a different order of the record. I'm very big into orders of records. You can buy it on my website. Just go to rickbeato.com. It's not available on iTunes, Spotify, nothing like that. This is old school. This is actually, it's not old school. This is futuristic marketing here, where you just avoid Apple, you avoid Google. That's it. So, is it a concept record? Yeah, it's totally a concept record. It's a download link. Um, this is really the way to sell your music. I will put out a vinyl version. That's a great idea. How many people want me to put out a vinyl version of this? I like to see. Give me a yes or something, or yes vinyl or something. Me yes, of course. Vinyl, vinyl, vinyl. Duh. Okay, duh is good. Yes vinyl. Yes. Ooh, a lot of vinyl. Um, I think I'm not sure how to do vinyl. If I would go through Amazon and have them ship it. If I did vinyl, I'd probably just press 1,000 or so, and uh, but I think that's a great idea. Um, so from 192 to vinyl, I could actually go from 192 to vinyl. I actually could. I could have mixed it all to tape, and then gone from tape to. Now you still have to go digital because you got to send that to the where they cut the vinyl. You got to send it on. You got to send it digital. But I do have a tape machine, so I could actually theoretically have done that. How many have I sold to date? Well, this is the first. This is the first time I've announced it. So I had sold one just before I came on here. So literally, yeah. There's no. There's somebody wrote there's no Patreon link on my YouTube. I took it off. I don't believe in Patreon. Patreon sucks. I've kind of joined Patreon twice, and I took it off. I stopped doing it. And I'll tell you why. And I've mentioned this before. But how many people use Patreon on here that are watching me? Anybody use Patreon? Yes? You don't have a link to my website? Just go to rickbeato.com, and that's my website. And look in the store, or it's right there. It's right on the front page of the website. Incoming rant. Okay, Patreon is ridiculous. They're when you open Patreon on the here we go. When you open Patreon on your phone, okay, it goes to a thing, follow other creators. Now, why do you want to follow other creators? You want Patreon to open to your page, right? To see your posts that you're gonna put up there. Oh, and you can't. The last time I used it, you couldn't update a post from your phone, which is ridiculous, totally ridiculous. So all they want to do when you open their app is for you to follow other people. It's like, wait a minute, you got a Patreon for yourself and you want it to go to your home page, but their home screen is for you to follow other people. Who follows other people on Patreon? I mean, you may have friends that you follow on there. Okay, I get that. But it's ridiculous. It's like, why, I'm sorry, but it's like it's like in iTunes having 5 stars on things. Oh, this is a 5-star one. Oh, this is a 1-star song. Well, if it's 1 star, you just hit delete, You hit command delete, and there you go. You're done with it. Okay, so that's my thing on Patreon. So I stopped doing Patreon. I believe in if somebody's going to buy something, if somebody wants to donate to a channel, they should donate. Like for me, if you want to donate to my channel because you believe in what I do, I know a lot of you, many of you have bought my books and my PDFs. Hey, Charles. Charles, okay, so you follow a lot of people on Patreon. But the creator part of the app, so this is different actually. They really need to have the app for the creator and people that follow other people. And what it should do is if you have your own Patreon page, it should open to your page and have all your things listed. And you literally cannot post things to people on the from the phone. Like they totally don't have their their app together at all, which is outrageous, especially since they keep your money for a month or however long they keep it. I mean, it's totally bogus. Anyway, so I feel if you want to support me, buy my album, listen to my music. But this is literally my first recording ever. I was trying to think about this, and I've been in bands. I have released hundreds of records as a producer, that I played on. I mean, that not only played on. I mean, I've written songs. Every song that I've written, with every rock band has been a co-write. Literally, every single rock song I've ever written has been a co-write. The Beato book is good. I see Elijah says is a good for anyone. The Beato book starts at the beginning with intervals, so it's really, it gets very advanced, but it really explains all the base, all the concepts. Could I do a video on Tom Lord LG or Chris Lord LG or Tom Lord LG? Hold on a second. On Tom Lord LG, the good Lord LG. I could. I'd have to think about what to talk about with him. He actually mixed a record of mine. He mixed a few tracks of mine, and he did a really good job. I worked with this band Flicker Stick when I first started producing back in 1999. One of the very first bands. They were on a thing called on VH1. They won this thing called Bands on the Run, I think it was. They were a band out of Fort Worth. Really cool band, weird kind of indie band. Indie, I guess, indie-ish, but they had some pop songs too. And I did two songs on their record, and Tom Lord LG mixed them, and he did a great job. And so, anyways, that's the only time I think that's the only record that he ever mixed of mine. I'd have to think about that, but maybe one other record that he mixed for me. I had Chris Lord LG mixed a few records for me. I've had them all mixed by all those guys. Sounding off with Alex Lifeson, working on that. Things I'm working on: sounding off with Alex Lifeson, sounding off with Guthrie Govan, sounding off with, if I can get Pat Metheny. I am working on that. I have my Marty Friedman one coming up, and I'm waiting now till Marty tells me he wanted me to wait to release it. He's got a single coming out. And I did one with Warren. I got Warren's coming out. I actually have to finish editing Warren's. Warren's was a little bit more high tech. I'd love to have Frank Gambale. I would get Frank. If anyone knows Frank, how to get in touch with them, it would be cool. Somebody said, let's see, who else here did we have on here? Larry Carlton, John Frusciante would be amazing. I'd love him. Jared Dines. I know who Jared is. He's a YouTuber. That'd be interesting. I don't know how to get in touch with Jared. I like YouTubers. Dweezil. I need to talk to Dweezil. I can get Dweezil. Josh would be amazing. Kurt Rosenwinkel would be great. Anyways, okay, I'm reading these things here. There's let me have a shootout. Any interesting Flicker Stick stories? How many people know Flicker Stick? Does anybody know Flicker Stick? Chris Potter, I'll work on too. That would be great. I know that, and Brent Garson would be great too, because I really like his playing. George Benson, Steve Gadd. I'm reading these. Vinny, George Garzone. Chris Potter, yeah, okay. Yeah, you guys really should put these in the comment things. These comments don't get saved. So you know what? I'm going to have Aaron create a spot on my website where you can leave things like that or something for people that have ideas, or if you have any way of getting in touch with any people. Because a few of the people that I've talked to, a couple of people that I've talked to, I want to say a couple of people I've met through other people on here, through people that follow me here on YouTube. Joe Satriani, I wrote to Joe's manager. Never heard back. No response at all. If anybody knows Joe, then let me know about that. Schofield would be great. Anyway, so I'm working on these things. I like Jerry Bergonzi. He's amazing. He's great. I love all those guys. Um, Rick Graham. I love Rick. Rick is great. Um, I was trying to get, you know, who I tried to get at the, one of the first people I asked was Adam Franklin. And you guys are like, who's he? He's one of my favorite singers and guitar players. He's in a band called Swerve Driver that was huge in the early '90s. They're a shoegazer band, basically. They came out of the they're more rock than My Bloody Valentine, but they're out of that uh, My Bloody Valentine, Swerve Driver, Ride. Um, I guess Stone Roses has have a little bit of shoegazer in them, but I tried to get I tried to get the singer for the band, Adam Franklin, to come on, but I haven't had any. He said he would, but I need to schedule him. Stanley Jordan. I need to write to Stanley Jordan. I met Stanley at the Victor Wooten camp. I want to have Victor on again too, but I want to have Victor on. I'd love to have Victor on in person next time though. Mike Patton would be cool. Miles Kennedy. I probably get Miles Kennedy. I actually worked with. I did. Miles sang on a tune that I produced about, almost 15 years ago or so. He came in and he sang the chorus on a song, and it was amazing. Any of you that know Miles Kennedy, he was in Mayfield 4 and he's in Alter Bridge now, but he is a great, great singer. Mike Watt, there you go. Robert Glasper, who else? Steve Jordan. Steve Jordan, that would be good too. By Lagrange, John Paul Jones. That would be ridiculous. I like this. Sounding off with John Williams. Well, yeah, of course. That would be incredibly great. And he sings for Slash. Miles does. Oh, that's right. He does sing for Slash. Well, he did. He sang with Slash on that one record they did a few years ago. Tom Quayle. That's I love Tom's playing. And Nuno, Daniel Baramam. Oh, geez. No, that's some serious stuff there. I saw Treelock Gertu there, George Benson, Bruce Hornsby, Misha Mansour. I wrote to Misha. I didn't hear back. Dave Holland. You know what? Dave Holland. Okay, so Dave Holland's coming to town next month, and I'm going to a show, and he's playing with Chris Potter. Okay, this is right. Okay, I want to say it's on the 8th. They're playing Atlanta, and I'm going to go and interview all the guys in the band beforehand. Chris Potter is in the band. Lewis Banks is in the band. Dave Holland's playing bass. So I'm going to interview them hopefully before their show. So anyway, so I will have Chris Potter and Dave Holland. Pino Palladino, yeah, that would be great. Just bought my bit rate is 320. Okay, good. See, I couldn't remember what I set it at. Micah Levy, is that says Charles? Oh, Mika. Tigran. I know Tigran's playing. I actually just was listening to him the other day. I don't know him personally, but I know he's playing. I see Ron Carter there. Problem. He tried to download my album 3 times, and problem unzipping it. Just write me back, and I'll resend you the zip. It depends on where you are. I tried it; it worked fine. I know that I had my friend Paul tried it. My friend and my assistant Ken tried it. All worked fine. So occasionally, some people will have problems. Just write me to my Rick Beato 1@gmail.com, and I'll resend it via WeTransfer. It's easy. My 5 things about Beethoven was really cool. More videos like that. Yeah, that would be. You know, I was going to make a series of that, just like I'm going to make a series of all these things, and it's getting around to this. Corey Henry, I saw that. Lyle Mays, I saw that. Danny Elfman, that would be great. Todd Rundgren, John McLaughlin would be great. Tom Waits, that would be amazing. Jacob Collier, I've written to Jacob. I haven't heard back from him. Some of this stuff, to be honest with you, now that I have Michelle, that any of you that watched my last live stream and saw met Michelle, she's going to help me be better organized for these kind of things. I mean, you guys got to know that I get hundreds of emails a day. It's very hard for me to respond to comments. This is actually the best way to. This is one of the best ways to actually ask me questions, is through here. But Michelle's going to help me keep up on these things, and she's going to help me with my notation programs and things. I meant to ask this: how many people have any experience with the Steinberg notation program? I'm trying to think of the name. It starts with a D. Anybody have experience with this? Because I got an email from a guy named Luis today that sent me a video. Dorico, that's right. I just looked at it a little while. Okay, you guys know what it is. Who knows? Is it good? Can anyone compare it to Finale or to Sibelius? Is it better? Presonus also makes one. Who, Charles, do you know anybody? Tell me Sibelius all the way. I want recommendations. I own Sibelius and Finale. Michelle knows Finale. I know Sibelius a little bit. Aaron is an expert at Sibelius. MuseScore. I know people that use MuseScore and they look great. Give me, is Dorico mainly a PC platform? I wrote to Michael League and I need to write him back again. I see Ivan. Look, so we have Lewis saying Finale will do anything, and then Ivan right after him says Sibelius, and then Dorico has some better features. Stop using Sibelius notation, went to Presonus. Okay, tell me about Presonus. Who knows about Presonus that can tell me about that? Here's the thing. This is the thing. I asked Michelle. She's sitting here. She's in Finale, and I say, hey, I need the tempo to go from 135 or something down to 125. Can you change the tempo? Literally 15 screens. And I said, come on, tell me that there's not a better way to do this. So when I talked to Steve Vai originally, and he convinced me to get Finale. So I got Finale. And if you own Sibelius, they give you a deal for $150 to buy Finale if you're Sibelius. You put in your code. And Steve told me that there's this aftermarket guy that creates these programs that go along with Finale, and I forget what it's called. Some guy that created all these different programs that work with Finale that Steve told me about. He said, you have to have this with Finale. It makes using it way easier. And this guy's site had an issue with it. I tried to get Aaron to download it and set it up for me. So anyway, so that's one of the things that I'm grappling with now. I own Guitar Pro. I have Guitar Pro 6 and 7, which I think are great. I think it's actually easier to input notes in Guitar Pro than anything. But their Guitar Pro 7 is really inferior to Guitar Pro 6 for entering notes. But apparently the engine for playing back things, which I don't care about, for guitar sounds and things like that, is really weird. So Finale, though, when you import Pro Tools MIDI files into Finale, they're way more accurate than Sibelius. Now, that makes no sense at all. How is it that Avid owns Sibelius, yet it has so many errors when you import a MIDI file from Pro Tools into Sibelius versus importing it from Pro Tools into Finale. Somebody said that Guitar Pro 7 sucks. It does. I hate to say it. I just so I actually use Guitar Pro 6, and so somebody just asked me if I like tabs. Rick, do you like tabs for guitar learning songs? Do you think, or you think it gets you dumber? Well, you should be able to read music notation. Tabs are great for people that are not good at reading guitar notes, and if it enables you to read things, then tablature is good. I mean, honestly, I I well, if I'm teaching someone something, I don't teach anymore. But if I'm teaching somebody something, beginners tabs are definitely the way to go. But you really need to learn to read as a kid. That's another thing. I always talk about these things that just like perfect pitch, you got to start only learn as a baby. Things that require left-right independence, like playing Bach fugues, you have to learn as a child. You have to. I don't know anybody that is. I don't know anyone that learned to play Bach fugues in their 20s. I don't. What was that, Charles? There, you're talking about music XML better for MIDI imports between programs. I do use XML a lot. To go between programs, actually. As a matter of fact, I will import. It's really funny since I know how to read. Since I know how to use Sibelius, I will import a Pro Tools MIDI file into Finale, and then export that without doing anything because it'll import more accurately. Then I will export the XML file and then open it up in Sibelius. And it's way more accurate than actually just opening it in Sibelius first. I don't know how, but somebody says, can I read MIDI? Yeah, I can read MIDI really well, actually. What's my favorite chord? I don't really have a favorite chord. I'm not sure you could have a favorite chord, but what orchestra VSTs do I use? Okay, so I have the entire East-West, all the programs from East-West, everything that they make. I have all the orchestral things that Spitfire makes. So we're talking like the brass, woodwinds, and strings. I have chamber strings. I've got of Spitfire. I have a lot of Spitfire stuff. So, anyways, that's I have a lot of other programs, tons of other programs. So, let's see here. Wes Montgomery didn't read, neither did Paul McCartney. Okay, Beethoven did read. I mean, look, Wes is like my favorite jazz guitar player, and I love the Beatles so much I named my daughter Lennon, not after Vladimir Lenin. So, but hey Terry, to say that because those guys didn't read that it's not valid is ridiculous. Can't learn Bach fugues. No, I'm too old. I didn't say you can't. Okay, but it's almost impossible. It's very difficult to develop your left-right independence to be able to do it. You have to practice way more than a child does. There's a YouTube channel that I used to watch called Yes Dylan, named after Bob Dylan. Well, I like the name Dylan. But I love Bob Dylan. So I got Dylan, Lennon, Layla. What kind of album is this? It's really more modern classical and jazz. My record's really more modern classical, I'd say, but it has jazz elements to it. So there's a YouTube channel I used to watch called Smarter Every Day. It's a huge YouTube channel. They got millions of subscribers. And the guy on it did this thing. I don't know if any of you saw this. He had a bicycle made that had the he had it rebuilt where when you go to turn left, it turned the other way. And when you turn right, obviously, so the wheels would turn the wrong way. And he would go out and do talks, and he would bet people $200 that they couldn't ride at 10 feet. Okay? And no one could do it. He showed clip after clip of this. And Smarter Every Day. So it took him 8 months to learn how to ride it properly, to build the algorithm in his brain. His son learned it in a few weeks, okay? And then once he learned it, then he tried to get on a bike, and he was in Amsterdam, and then he got on a bike, a normal bike, and then it took him about 5 minutes to learn how to ride that, to have the algorithm click in. And he said, I feel the algorithm clicking in. I feel it clicking in. So one of his points that he didn't really make, he said he talked a little bit about brain plasticity, but with his son was it was way easier for him to ride because they have brain plasticity that lasts. Okay, kids, I'm going to get on a rant right now, but this isn't really a rant. This is an informational rant. Okay. All kids are born with the ability to learn languages. Okay, they have algorithms that are pre-wired in the brain to learn language. Their brain is pre-wired to learn language. Okay, so up until age 2, all these things are developing. There are many different. The brain plasticity is at its highest. They're born with 100 billion neurons. This brain plasticity really has a couple different windows. They call them critical windows of learning, these time periods. But this first window, there's a window that goes to about age 2, the first 1,000 days. And then there's one that extends to age 7 or so. After age 7, your ability to learn a language as a native begins to drop dramatically until about age 13, where it flattens out, and then it's equally difficult for teenagers and adults, which is interesting because most languages are taught in the United States. Usually, when I was growing up, were always taught in junior high when your brain plasticity level is at its lowest, or like really bottoms out. So, anyways, so you really need to teach kids all these things that they need to learn that require to have that plastic brain before age 7. And I really believe that public school, by the time kids get in kindergarten, they're really declining on their peak ability to learn. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you teach kids all these things when they're babies up through the time that they're about 6 or so, they're going to retain this stuff for the rest of their life. This is extremely important. Music, mathematics, all these different things, languages, multiple languages. By the time kids go to kindergarten, it's too late. So it's extremely important that, hold on. It's extremely important that education, preschool education, it's extremely important that preschool education incorporates more things than just the typical things that they do. So, anyways, if you go, look, somebody's like, oh, I'm wrong. Brain plasticity lasts till 18. Look, children, the younger you are, the easier it is to learn things. And it's ridiculous that that if you make a comparison, what do kids learn in the first year of life? Well, they learn how to eat. They learn how to beginning to talk. They already begin to understand language. They learn how to sit up. They learn how to crawl. They learn how to walk. Many kids do before one. All these things are algorithms that are built in the brain. Walking requires algorithms. riding a bicycle, as in Smarter Every Day, he talks about learning the algorithms for riding a bike. Learning to swim is a series of algorithms, okay? Now, if you Google swimming algorithms, you will not find anything. You will find nothing written about this. Nothing. But there are definitely algorithms to swimming. If you think about it, how many of you understand what I'm talking about with swimming? Most kids go in the water, and if they don't know how to swim, they are nervous once they hit about age 3 or so. And because they can't do all the different motions, they can't perform all the motions it takes to keep their body afloat. And it actually takes very little motion. Once you know how to swim, it takes almost no motion to stay afloat. And this is all about algorithms. So the amount of motion that you need to keep your body afloat is extremely small. But yet, when you're nervous and you don't know those motions and don't know how to relax, once you have those algorithms built, it's so incredibly easy. Now, babies that are 1 year old, already they don't have this fear of drowning. They naturally hold their breath when they go underwater. That's why they tell you to teach babies to swim when they're really, really young. A lot of times you'll blow in their face when you take them underwater and bring them back out. But anyways, all these things are algorithms. Just like learning the piano, anything is building algorithms. All these different things for memory are extremely, extremely important. And as many things as you can develop as a child, you should, if your parents are on the ball or have the resources, it's incredibly, incredibly helpful. So, yes, there it is. He said there's circuits in the brain. That's exactly. The more you do things, the more the myelin sheath on the outside of these that surround the neurons, that insulate the neurons from one another, gets thicker, and it is able to conduct those electric impulses faster. Okay, that's what practicing is all about. What is this? Still learnable, ages 7 through 13, barely reach skill levels, world class. Really, when I was talking about age 7, I was talking more for language algorithms, and then it starts to decrease at age 7. I'm not saying that kids don't have heightened plasticity still, but it begins to decrease at age 7. But, the brain's peak, they've done a lot of studies using video games and things like that, that between 24 and 29 is when your brain peaks as far as its processing speed. And it's probably why most music conservatories will say, most teachers that I've met that are, the top teachers in the classical world will say that you need to learn all the repertoire, the piano repertoire, for example, by the time before you're 30, so that you retain it for the rest of your life. Because after that, it's difficult to retain pieces. But when I'm listening to things, whatever it is, if I'm listening to dialogue, when Dylan did this, my son Dylan did this video back when he was, 6 or so, or 7, where he recited pi. They had a competition for Pi Day, and Dylan memorized 500 numbers of pi. And he learned it, maybe a week or so, something like that. I mean, it was insanely fast. And I remember him saying this. I've done this before, but I can hear him 3.1415926533583792383172688628634117067982 Like that's the beginning part, like the first 100 numbers of pi. And I remember that from hearing Dylan say it. I just remember it like I'm remembering a song that you're going, as if I'm reciting to you all the things you are: F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat major 7, D minor 7, G 7, C major 7. So I think of these things when I'm doing that. When I just remember the sound of what it sounds like, and I'm not really thinking of it. Now, if I thought about it and I were to teach somebody this, I would do it using chunking, which is breaking up into bits. 3.1415, 926, 5358, 979, 32384, 626, 433, 83279, 50288, 4197, 169, 399, 375, 180. And I would teach it to a person like that, probably. That's probably the most common way to learn about, for memorization, for anything. All these things, the thing about Rubik's Cube is algorithms, exactly. It's interesting. So Dylan, when he does his Rubik's Cube, he does this thing where he takes a Rubik's Cube and will have it solved, and then he'll go shh and unwind it and wind it back up. And he just goes through all the algorithms super fast, and then he's back to it after about 10 seconds or so. And he scrambles it, but he's just going through all the whatever there are, the 12 algorithms or so, until he solves it. People that can solve a Rubik's Cube in 5 seconds, what they're doing is they're able to look at it. They look at it and they can instantly see what the remaining algorithms are to finish the shortest distance to finishing the cube. And they do it just by memory. It's the same kind of thing, but this is literally all memorized. So I think this stuff is extremely important. Let's count how many times he says algorithm. I won't say algorithm anymore. Easy to do if you remember. Chess is similar, exactly. Magnus Carlsen, yeah. In chess, a grandmaster is going to know 100,000 games. I think that I read. Like typical grandmaster. I have a friend of mine that's a master in chess, and he will know a game from 30 years ago that he played. He'll remember all the moves. He'll remember a game that I played, a chess game that I played with him 30 years ago. It was interesting when I started showing Dylan chess. The first thing I did was go through and show him all these different chess openings, and he just memorized them. And then I had him. I was just curious, and then I said, okay. These are the openings and here's the defenses. And he would just play, and I just had him do all the different movements with it and practice all the openings. Okay, download my record. My record is out, everybody. Let me get back to this. I have my... Wait, you're reciting... Dylan reciting pick, fascinating. You're reciting pi. Dylan reciting pi. Is that fascinating? Yeah, I recite a lot of different things actually. When I was 4, I learned the presidents of the United States because my aunt gave me this book. But I would recite it for people. They'd give me a quarter for it. And anyways, so that's how I remember all these different things when I'm doing. When I'm teaching here, doing my videos, I almost never reference anything. So what you really need to do is you learn the stuff once properly, and then you can retain it. But if you don't learn it properly with enough repetitions, it doesn't stick with you. That's a big that's a big thing. Aren't I afraid I overloaded my child? No, no. My kids are. I didn't overload my child. I played him complex music. That was it. All the other things you learned in the car on the way to school. Andrew Hong, I watch Andrew's videos. I subscribe to his channel. I'd love to do a thing, but he seems to always do his. He does all these collaborations with our guitar player Rob. It's like they're doing collaborations all the time now. Andrew makes some incredibly cool sounds. I love his videos. Any YouTubers that, that Rob Scallon. Open your files in Audacity. Levels not too overdriven. Yeah, I don't. I mastered the record myself, and I didn't do any compression on anything. So I don't believe in compression for. Well, that's not true. You sometimes you need to compress. It depends on what kind of record it is. But with classical records, I'll tell you one piece that really bugs me every time I listen to it. How many of you know Bartok's music for strings, percussion, and celeste? Because when you listen to that, any recording of that, the beginning is inaudible. And what they don't do is they never play it to, like, for example, early recordings of it are noisy because the noise floor, in order to leave room for the dynamics of the piece, because it's an incredibly dynamic piece. And it's also sonically, it's one of my favorite pieces sonically, just because of the linear writing, the harmonic structures of the piece are just incredibly beautiful. But because they're using mutes in the beginning, it's so quiet that you end up having to crank it up just to hear the beginning, and then you have to crank it back down. And that's that always bugged me. And so I've actually done my own versions of them where I've thrown it into Pro Tools, and I've done volume rides of music for strings, percussion, and celeste. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I see Corey Taylor. I like Corey Taylor. That would be cool. Somebody says same thing with Concerto for Orchestra. Yeah, there's there are a few pieces that are so dynamic that they really should think about performing for. I think it's hard for these pieces to translate into a recorded medium when you have to leave room so that the loudest parts don't go over zero. Okay, so. And in the old days, if you'd hit the tape machine too hard, you'd get tape compression, which would be a similar thing, which you don't want to have. So anyways, that's my views on mastering. So I mastered the record. There's no clipping on my record. And I mastered it all with all the stuff is done with volume rides, essentially, or actually just getting the loudest parts of the song close to zero, but not up to zero, and there's no compression being used. So I hate super loud records unless they're metal records, or certain rock records. Anybody know No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age? That's one of the loudest songs that I've ever heard. Eric Valentine recorded that, but he didn't mix it. I don't know who mixed it, but that is unbelievable. I love that whole record. That Queens of the Stone Age record is amazingly good sounding. I got some of the tracks for that record, and they got some really great songs for the deaf, right? That's one of my favorite sounding records. It doesn't have the guitars don't have a lot of 3K in them. 456. I love 456. You're talking about they're talking about tape for 2-inch. in case people are wondering there. Dave Grohl on drums, exactly. So the that particular record though, and Eric Valentine, how many of you know his production or his engineering? Because he's excellent. He's an excellent engineer, and he doesn't have these. He's able to get in your face guitar sounds without having a lot of 3K in his distorted electric guitars, which is really, really unbelievably cool. So I have the things. I should bring my phone in the control room and play some of those. I have No One Knows. I think I have the tracks for that. But it sounds so fat. But yeah, so Eric Valentine doesn't have he has aggressive sounding guitars without a lot of upper mids. And usually your super aggressive mids for distorted electric guitars, any bands that you like, any metal bands will have a lot of 3K in their guitars. Some metal bands will have the mids scooped, but they're scooped lower than that. I'm talking more upper mids, make the guitars have more bite and more presence. So, anyways, all right, so that's good. I promoted my record here. Buy my record. If you want to support me on my channel here, buy the Beato book, buy my record. And my opinion on Rick Rubin's productions, I love Rick Rubin's productions. I love his, I love Wildflowers by Tom Petty, which I talked about this week. Which is a phenomenal sounding Tom Petty record. All the Tom Petty records are great sounding. Jeff Lynne was a great producer. And Rick Rubin's record is incredibly cool. And I believe that Jim Scott engineered it. And I did a session with Jim Scott one time in 2005 or so out in LA. And I remember asking him about recording that record because the You Don't Know How It Feels, I think, is on that record. Doom, ta, doom, ta, doom. I'm just unbelievable. Great caveman drumming there. I love that. Super fat sounding. And he told me a very cool trick that I've used forever. When he mics the ride from underneath us, and he flips the phase on it, and he puts it right under the bell like that and mics it. And that's one of the things I picked up from him. Anyways, what do I think about ECM recordings? I love some ECM recordings. I love a lot of ECM recordings. They've been, but they have great artists on ECM. Anyways, okay, I've not seen the new Blade Runner. I'd like to see it. Where to buy my record? Go to rickbeato.com. It's right there on the front page. Anyways, go to my website. I'm reading all these things. How to mic a grand piano from underneath the soundboard. I don't really do that. You can do that. I have done that. I'll actually put up multiple mics. I'll put up a stereo pair inside the piano, then I'll put up another stereo pair outside the piano from a couple feet away. Then I'll put some distant room mics, depending on the room that I'm in. So buy my record. You guys rock. Watch my Brian Schmidt sounding off. Go rewatch my post-tonal harmony that's been corrected that has no views on it yet. And I will do a Lydian chromatic thing. I've said that before, but I have to go through the book again and make sure that the book is updated with George's handouts that he gave us when I took his class. Because he had changed a lot of stuff in the book. He had some pretty massively big handouts that went with the book. You can buy my record on my website, rickbeato.com. So I'm expecting to see a lot of sales after this. There's 383 people. Okay, where's all the give me some thumbs up here before you go. I want some thumbs up. Let's go. You got to get past the number of people that are on here. Just needs a few more. Alan Silvestri. Yeah, I can do one on Alan Silvestri. That actually would be a great one to do. Okay, thanks everybody. You guys rock. Buy the Beato book. Buy my PDF. And if you have a suggestion for order for reordering my record, let me know if you have a particular order you like. The record's only $8.75 euro. Well, there you go. Look at that. It's awesome. You guys rock. Talk to you soon.